เดี๋ยวเซสชันต่อไปจะเป็นของis data Detrimental to creativity นะครับของคุณลิซ่าคอลลินนะครับซึ่งเป็น Digital Transformation Evangelist จาก Adobe Southeast Asia นะครับเดี๋ยวรอวิทยากรสักพักหนึ่งครับอเจนดาทั้งหมดนะครับของเรามันจะเลยประมาณ40นาทีนะครับเพราะว่าเซสชั่นเช้านี่เราเลทมา40นาทีดังนั้นตอนนี้ถ้าดูในอเจนดาในโบรชัวร์ของตัวเองครับบวก40เข้าไปในทุกอันนะครับตอนนี้ก็กำลังเดินเปลี่ยนห้องกันอยู่เดี๋ยวเรารอให้ข้างนอกเข้ามาสักพักหนึ่งนะครับครับพร้อมกันยังครับเซสชันต่อไปจะเป็นเซสชันที่เกี่ยวข้องกับ Data ว่าจะทำลาย Creativity ไหมหรือว่าในหัวข้อ Is Data Detrimental to Creativity นะครับขอผม Let me introduce the speaker of this session Is the Data Detrimental to Creativity Miss Lisa Collins
Thank you
ขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยครับ Lisa Collins, she is a digital transformation evangelist from Adobe Southeast Asia. Okay.
Great, thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. This is the last session before lunch, so welcome to that. We're going to have something really cool and delicious afterwards. Today we're going to talk about, is data detrimental to creativity? So is data bad for the creative process? Now, I come from Adobe Southeast Asia. I'm a technology evangelist, and you may be familiar with our creative cloud, so primarily Photoshop, and also our document cloud, so Adobe Acrobat is an example of that. Now, I work primarily on our experience cloud. So that is the tools that we give you to build, create, optimize, and manage experiences in the digital space. So we have programmatic paid media, analytics tools to understand your users, tools to help you build websites, and then also to manage your one-to-one communication with customers across channels like Line or email or SMS. Now you may be wondering, she's got a bit of a strange accent. The reason why is I'm from Cape Town in South Africa, And I've also lived in 4 different countries in the last 10 years, so my accent is a bit funny. Now, Cape Town, for any of you who might know, is one of the creative capitals of Africa. And I grew up with photographers and ceramicists and designers and artists. And one of the key concerns they had was that data or the suits working in the advertising agency they worked in, it was just taking over, and it meant that they couldn't really do the creative work that they wanted to. In fact, Pablo Picasso said something similar. He said the chief enemy of creativity is good sense. And in a way, he was right. When you're in the flow, in the creative flow, you don't want to be distracted by little tasks that you have to do or things you have to think about. You want to be able to be creative. But today, my argument for you is that you need data in today's world to help you fuel your creativity. So traditionally, we always thought about creativity as the left and the right brain. So the left brain was logical, analytical, and the right brain was the creative side of how you thought and how you operated. But what we actually know today is that the process of creation is actually a whole brain process. So it starts, let's see if this works, oh yeah, it starts in the top left-hand corner with inspiration. This might be getting the creative brief from your business team. It might be having a design challenge, or you want to create something from scratch, and you want to map out what is the framework I'm going to do this in. You then move across to ideation. That's not what I want. Yeah, to ideation. This is where you let your mind run wild. You have divergent thinking. You have creative processing. You then put these elements together under creation, and then you move back to the logical side of your brain when you have revision. This is really about the editing process. So as an artist or a designer, you'll go through creation, and then you'll take a step back and you'll look at the work that you've created. And so today, I'm going to show you how data and data-driven technology can actually help fuel this creative process. So on the one hand, on the left hand, I'm going to show you that through, particularly from a business perspective, when you're starting at the inspiration and revision sides, it can help you to cut through the noise. So this means it can highlight opportunities for design and creativity, or it can highlight areas where you're doing really well and you want to keep doing more of that. The second part of the process that data and data technology can help you with is creating at the speed of thought. Now, how many of you have ever been creating something, the process of creating something, and you just lose all track of time? You're so in the flow, you're so just coming up with these ideas, you don't know where they're coming from. And that's what we want to keep you in that process and not have you be distracted by manual work that you might have to do. So let's look at, first of all, cutting through the noise. So recognizing signals is a really important part of the digital world that we live in. This is an example of a digital strategy plan that I create with my customers. And I work with people from banks to telcos. I've worked with creatives and startups. So I work with a wide variety of people, and this framework works for most all of them. So we have all the things that we want to create, and this is a format and a framework to identify what's most important to us as a business. So it's kind of a waterfall flow. We start by looking at what does the enterprise want to achieve, and then we then trickle down to our digital properties, so the app and the website, the initiatives like increasing new visitors, and lastly, the tactics. So I want to increase my website's ability to drive revenue for the business, for instance, and reduce drop-offs in the shopping cart funnel. But once we have the structure, we now have all this data coming at us that's being captured every single second of every day. And this is where machine learning and AI comes in very handy, because instead of you having to look at your data, the tool actually surfaces anomalies for you. So let's say, for instance, we're measuring shopping cart abandonment. We want the tool to say, hey, did you know that people coming on mobile devices from the Patram 1 area are adding a lot of, the category 1 type of products to their cart? This is something that you should get in on and try and boost that volume as much as possible. Secondly, we want to align against journeys. Now, this is something if you've ever worked, particularly in large corporates, they often fall prey to the issue of being very focused on their own corporate structure and not on what the customer wants. So an example is one of our customers in the UK called the Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, they were like a 100-year-old company. They'd been doing the same thing, the same way for so many years. And like most banks, it was very difficult for a customer. If I was wanting to apply for a new credit card, I had to be bounced between different departments, maybe be pushed from, on the website to the call center. So what they did is they invested in technology to democratize data. What that means is that they invested in technology to track the entire customer journey and identify those individual segments and audiences of customers. And then they gave technology to their people to help to optimize that. So that might be A/B testing. So, for my credit card sign up, I might want to test one version, one image and content and messaging versus another. And they went from running about 10 website tests in a year, and only 4 people were running the tests, to over 400 tests in the course of a year. And the technology they were using was so powerful that it boosted their conversions, but it was also simple enough that their C-level executives actually ran some tests of their own. So, the C-suite is very strategic, but often not very technical and maybe a little bit too old to have used a lot of the tools today. So this actually really showed the power of these tools. So some of the key, and so the program that they created was called Superstar DJs. So they said, well, we need our team to really control the audiences and respond to the audiences the same way that DJs respond to theirs. So they experimented with new content. They could see straight away when something was working and they could pull it back. They could really work close to real time. And most importantly, they said, be fearless. This is an environment, particularly the digital space, you can test things out at the sort of, speed of just putting something straight up on the website. Welcome. Come in. All right. The third way to cut through the noise using data and data-driven technology is to deliver one-to-one personalization at scale. So what does that mean for you guys? Well, they say that the businesses that have the best creative outcomes tend not to think about design as making something pretty. Design is a way that marketers can bring their ideas to life. But today, the challenge is how do you design for individual people? And that's really the opportunity of digital, but also the challenge, is I have this whole street of people who are all my customers, but with data I can begin to see that Tom is a frequent business traveler, and Julie is a fashionista, Alex is using data and social bundles to communicate with brands, somebody else is researching a new car. All these different signals and data traits can be pulled together to create a myriad different segments, and you need to be able to understand them and deliver content to them in the right way for them. And this is where machine learning and AI comes in handy, because when you're creating this creative content, you need to be able to listen to the marketplace to understand what they need, predict the journey that they're going to take, assemble the right content in the right format for mobile or website, for instance, and deliver it to them. But you need to make these decisions in a split second. And so this isn't something that you can do on a manual basis. Having machine learning technology can really help you to drive this one-to-one personalization. And in fact, in late 2016, Adobe announced a platform called Adobe Sensei, and this is our unified platform for AI and machine learning technology. And it's shared throughout our 3 clouds. Now, we have a long history of machine learning, building out machine learning to drive our tools. And what it was that we did is just to make this something that all of our products and solutions could use. So, in the case of, from a business perspective, when we want to get the right content to the right people at the right time, this might be understanding how I've engaged with you across the kiosks in your store, or your mobile app, or your website. And the next time you come back, personalizing the experience, showing you new combinations of text and images and content to really help to drive engagement. Also, prediction and forecasting. So I mentioned before that anomaly detection, highlighting those changes in your key performance indicators you can take advantage of or try to fix as soon as possible. Okay, so we've looked at how we cut through the noise of data and data-driven technologies. Let's look on the creative side. So how do we stay in the flow and really create at the speed of thought? Let's see if this guy works. Yes, cool. So it was Steve Jobs who said that creativity is actually about reuse and repurposing old ideas. And this was an example of Adobe Stock, which is our marketplace for assets. I believe we have over 45 million assets in our marketplace. And we presented a challenge to the audience, and we said, we want you to use Adobe Stock to recreate really beautiful pieces of art. And this is a Caravaggio. And you can see that this would only really be possible, this selection and finding of different images and repurposing them using technology that's driven by machine learning. So when we think about data in the creative process, it's not about interrupting the flow. It's about giving you the ability to find the assets that you need and also to really repurpose them in a way that makes non-creative people more creative. So I mean, are you guys familiar with the font Comic Sans? Yeah. So it kills me when my mother uses that font. So in this example, the tool she's using could suggest gently that perhaps it's not the most, beautiful font she could use. It can also, augment the current process and make more efficient the workflows that current creatives are using. So we're going to look at a couple of examples of this. The first is content understanding. You need a tool that can identify concepts in the images and the videos that you have, that can identify the salient or important parts of those images, the actions people are taking in videos, and also really understanding the sort of aesthetics or the style of different images. So in this example, we have child and beach. Maybe that's what we search for. But in order to make these assets more findable so it's easier for you to use, perhaps we can identify the number of people and the gender that they are. We also want to be able to draw out the emotions, so more higher level concepts when we're looking at these images. So there's happiness, love, and joy. We also want to draw out the aesthetics, so around the background and the kind of lighting that's being used. And lastly, categorize these different types of images. When it comes to salience, deep cutout is a way for the tool to actually identify the most important part of the image. So here it has to be able to identify with reasonable certainty the people, the kitten, the buildings. And this is an example. In our research labs, we have an Adobe concept canvas, and I might need to play this to get this baby to work. Okay. So what's happening up here is we want to find an image for a new campaign that we have. Let's say it's for backpacking accessories. So instead of having to search through everything using text, what we're doing is we're looking at ways to combine other types of searching. And here we're actually saying mountain on the right-hand side and sky. And as we change and move the shape of these different elements, the images that are showing up adjust to that search. So what we're seeing when it comes to images and video in particular is that the text, but also other ways of searching is really critical to speed up that time to insight and to speed up that creation process to bring in different elements that you can create for your design. So here it looks like they found the combination that they want, and we can select the lady on the right-hand side. And this will just continue to go. I can change this as I need to. So what you've just seen is the ability of a tool to understand content, because this enables your search and discovery process. Lastly, when it comes to computational creativity, so here you have machine learning and AI creating and driving the tools that you use to actually put these different elements together. So this could be, your workflow optimization or auto-fixing or auto-styling certain different images. So an example of this is semantic-aware sky replacement. So let's say we're creating photographs for this particular, I'm guessing, who knows where this is? I know where this is. Well, Vegas. All right, what happens in Vegas stays there. But not the sky, apparently. So we can actually mask out the sky and then look for a sky from a different image, so the one at the top right-hand corner, and then replace that onto our current image. And that will also change the shading, the lighting to match the background. So we can continue to do this for a snowy environment and also a sunset, which is beautiful. Another example is neural stylization. So we can actually decompose the different elements of an image to do the same thing with the sky, but also to incorporate the aesthetic styling of the image in the middle as well. And lastly, design intelligence. So in this instance, we have a couple of different posters for a movie that we've created. And we want to be able to, first of all, create, maybe we have an iPhone app that we're wanting to create using this content. Instead of starting from scratch and creating all these different screens, what we want to be able to do on the top right-hand corner is actually ask the system to say, show me what this would look like for an iPhone 8 layout. And we can select the specific pages that we like. And then perhaps using an Adobe XD-like tool, we can actually show the flow, how this would move between different pages. So what this is doing, when we're talking about creating at the speed of thought, it's taking away all of that manual work of resizing and putting things together and letting you actually think more about the concepts and delivering on those concepts. So the three key areas that we can see, particularly from a data-driven machine learning and AI perspective, we looked at content understanding and how that can help to drive the ability for you to find the assets that you want, computational creativity to speed up that time to creation of your whatever it is that you're creating, and experience intelligence to help you to deliver this content to the right people at the right time and in the right place as well. So what it is that we propose is that data and data-driven technology is a complement to human creativity. And the data and creativity should always be considered working together as a whole. My name is Lisa Collins. It's been a pleasure speaking to all of you. And I'll be available for about half an hour after the session if you'd like to chat. But I believe now, do we have giveaways? Yes. Yes. So now we have some giveaways for the audience. I'll hand back over to the team.
Yes. Lisa has some presents for you, but only one present.
Only one.
Only one of you can get the present. Is this what is it? Is this a license of Adobe software for 1 year?
Yes.
For 1 year. All of Adobe software for 1 year. But we have to have a game. Let me ask you guys a question. Can you tell the name of Adobe software for 5 of them? 5 of Adobe software. Okay. I will count 1, 2, 3, and you need to show your hand. Okay. 1, 2, 3. No. No. 1, 2, 3. Oh. No, continue. Again, please. Stop. Help me check who is the first. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this 5 of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah. Yes, it's correct. So we have a winner. Okay. Are you a designer or? Okay. So. Okay. ขอเสียงปรบมือด้วยครับ Okay. Thank you, Lisa, for this very interesting speech okay and ภาษาไทยแล้วนะโอเคว่าเดี๋ยวเซสชันนี้จบแล้วครับเดี๋ยวเราจะไปทานข้าวกันแต่ว่าเราจะกลับมาด้วยไทม์ไลน์เดิมคือว่าเราจะเริ่มตอนนี้บ่ายโมงตรงเดี๋ยวเราจะเริ่มเซสชันถัดไปก็คือตอนบ่ายโมงครึ่งเลยแสดงว่าทุกท่านจะมีเวลา30นาทีในการกินในการทานอาหารนะครับเซสชันต่อไปของห้องนี้คือ Micro Influencer นะครับโดยคุณครูเลดแลบนะครับก็ขอเชิญทุกท่านรับประทานอาหารครับแล้วก็กลับมาเจอกันครับขอบคุณมากครับ